worlders, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma and it is time for Bookmas Day 2. Did I add in an intro? Did I? Last year, I got this idea in my head that I wanted to do a video called Books on My Radar, where I would talk about all the books on my radar going into 2022. Apparently, it was going to be a 3-part series. It's going to be again this year. Well, it'll be for the first time this year because I didn't finish it last year. But it was going to be books I own, books I don't own that are already released, and then new releases. I am currently in the middle of doing my research for the new release one, but the next 3 days, which I will film later, but this is pre-filming, will be those 3 books, or those 3 videos. And I was like, I'm going to react to last year's 3 videos. There's only one, but I'm going to react. I'm going to tell you which books I read, if I liked them, anything like that. And yeah, this is hopefully will be an annual video as well. I will link the original one down below if you're really interested, but I doubt you will be. And yeah, let's get started. I did skip over the intro, but just so you guys know, I did make a disclaimer about how crazy my eye makeup looked in this video. I don't remember the excuse, but I did make it. And I talked about a rash that I apparently had on my face that I can't see, so. But the first book that I own that is on my radar that I have not read yet is Dear Haiti, Love Elaine by, oh, I definitely need to look up how to say these names, but it's Micaiah Moulet and Maritza Moulet, or Moulite. I should have looked them up before I did this video. I'm really sorry. But this book, I have not read Dear Haiti, Love Elaine. I believe it's on my 5-star prediction video. I just haven't read it yet. TBR. The next book that is high up on my radar is Love, Rosie. So I am gonna like play the video and I'll tell you how wrong I was about how I feel about this book, but I did read Love, Rosie this year. Cecilia Ahern. If you guys have been watching my channel, you know that there's one book left in my 5-star prediction video for the first round, and this is it. I have read all other books in my original 5-star prediction video, and I do not think that I can do another 5-star prediction until I've read this one. Just like Love, ironically, I did choose to do another 5-star prediction before I officially read this book because I was frustrated that I could not get this book on a TBR. In the United States, and like it has been adapted into a movie. I'm planning to unhaul it. Y'all, this is like based on my favorite movie and I'm planning to unhaul it. The next book that is on my radar currently is My Favorite Half Night Stand by Christina I've not read My Favorite Half Night Stand. I don't know a lot about this book. I'm guessing it has something to do with some sort of. The next one is Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I did not read Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have not read a new Taylor Jenkins Reid this year, and I have not read a new Christina Lauren this year, but say lovey. So the next one is kind of a 2-for-1 kind of thing, but one of my best book reading friends, right here friends, Kelsey, always recommends K.A. Tucker books to me, and I do own The Simple Wild and Say You Still Love Me by K.A. Tucker. One or both of these books I definitely want to get to in 2021. I definitely want to see what the hype about K.A. Tucker is. I've heard nothing but good things about her romances. I know that she also, so just like Love, Rosie, I'll let myself explain why I think I'll like these books. But I did read Say You Still Love Me. I have not read The Simple Wild. Sometimes write some thrillery books. And I believe this one takes place in Alaska, and it's like the girl has to go back after her father died, or her father's sick, or something like that. And I have no idea what this one's about. I would guess it's about going back home and running into like a high school sweetheart. Not 100% sure, but these are 2 books that I'm very, very intrigued to try to get to. I'm guessing if I ever spin a Phone a Friend on my Wheel of TBR, my friend is going to want me to read one of these 2. I'm always tempted to like message her and be like, hey, I was wrong about what Say You Still Love Me is about. It is about a girl who works for her father's business, but a new security guard starts, and he was like her camp romance when she was like 16 or 17. The one thing I really loved about this book was it gave vibes of when I was a camper, because I used to go to overnight camp and loved it. But other than that, I didn't love the book. I definitely want to read The Simple Wild. I was in a bad place when I was reading Say You Still Love Me, so I don't want to like write K.A. Tucker off by any means. I just was not a huge fan of the book. So the next one that I want to read that's on my radar that I currently own is I'm Not Dying With You Tonight by Kimberly Jones and Gilly Seagal. This is a book about two girls. I believe they're at like a high school football game, and yeah, they're at a high school football game, and this book is still on my TBR. It is on a 5-star prediction. It has been on TBRs, and for some reason I still have not picked it up, and it's kind of being stuck with each other for the rest of the night. It's either like they lock down together or they're running together or something along those lines, but one of them is black and the other one is white. Next one is something that everyone and their mother has been talking about at the end of 2020, but it is The Invisible Life of Addie Larue by V.E. Schwab. Once again, I have not read The Invisible Life of Addie Larue, and once again, it is on my current round of 5-star predictions. They were on my radar. I don't know why I didn't read them. I mean, maybe I didn't spin them? I don't know. The next one is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Once again, have not read this one. I did not put this one on my 5-star predictions. I'm not 100% sure it will be a 5-star for me. I definitely think I'm going to enjoy it. I'm just not sure it's going to be a 5-star. It's kind of out of what I normally read, so it's kind of out of my reading comfort zone, but yeah. I have not read The Vanishing. And then the last book I own that is currently on my radar that I would love to read in 2021 is Undead Girl Gang. So I still have not read The Undead Girl Gang. I'm shocked that this one was on my books on my radar. I think it's just because I heard once that Books and Lala wanted to read it or loved it and felt like I needed to read it. I did put it on my October Wheel of TBR. Unfortunately, in October, I was going through some mental health stuff and barely read at all, so I didn't get to it in October. I am interested in it. I still would like to, at some point, read The Undead Girl Gang. I just have not read it as of this moment, but I'm shocked that it's a book on my radar. Some of these books that were on my radar in 2020, actually, let me see if there's anything else that I talk about, and then we'll talk about that. The next book is A Very Punchable Face by Colin Jost. I would still like to read A Very Punchable Face by Colin Jost. I haven't read it. I think I'm gonna add a red circle. I mentioned in yesterday's video that red circles on my Wheel of TBR, I'd rather look at them as challenges than as punishments. I'm not a huge memoir person. I'm not a huge nonfiction person, but I think I'm going to add a red circle for that because I think that's the only way I'm going to get to a book like this that I am interested in. I love Colin Jost, but I haven't read anything. I haven't read the book because it hasn't come up. So yeah, I still would like to read it, but I haven't read it. The next book is American Royals. I have not yet read American Royals by Catherine Mcgee. It is not really on my radar. I think if I found a cheap copy of it, I would read it, but I'm not, I like the idea of it. It's just not something that I'm actively looking to buy. I've never gone into the bookstore. Sometimes, sometimes I'll buy some books for some serotonin, you know. And I've never gone in and been I'm gonna go look for American Royals. It's never been the book that I'm looking for to buy for serotonin. But I would read it if I found a cheap copy or if a friend passed it along to me. The next one is The Guest List. I believe this is by Lucy Foley, but this book sounds like it'd be. So I actually just read The Guest List in November. I will link above my wrap up, but let's see what I have to say about it. Right up my alley. From what I understand, it kind of reminds me of the Clue game, especially the movie that was based on the board game Clue, where they all go to I think they go to an island in the book, and they are just picked off one by one, and you have to figure out who it is. It just reminds me so much of the movie Clue, and that is something that I really love. In all honesty, if I do end up getting a copy of this, which the next time Book of the Month doesn't have a book that I'm interested in, I probably will pick this one up. But in all honesty, this book would be one of those books that would fit under one of my favorite tropes, because that is a trope that I love. And another way I think you could probably describe this is it reminds me of what I think Agatha Christie, that's not her name. Is it Agatha Christie writes. That's what I think she writes. I don't think I've ever finished a book. Or maybe I have and I'm thinking of Then There Was One. Is that by her? I can't remember. And then the last book sorry, you just watched me bite skin off my nail. That was gross. It's not like the book Clue or the board game Clue or the movie Clue. I really thought it was going to be. I enjoyed it. It's just not what it was. And also it takes place at a wedding on an island. It's not a bunch of random strangers invited to an island, which I think when I was like putting this list together, I thought it was about a bunch of random strangers, but I was wrong. All right. That is on my list for this part of my On the Radar series is Heartstopper. This would be my first graphic novel. So I just recently finally acquired a copy of Heartstopper. I have not read it, but I was trying to buy this book, when I tell you, almost the whole year. Like, I was trying to buy a copy of Heartstopper for almost 12 months. I finally got it in November, but every time I would go to like Barnes and Noble and I would be like going to buy books for serotonin, like I literally was just talking about, it would have volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, but it would never have volume 1. It finally had volume 1, so I did pick it up, but I haven't read it yet.
Hey guys, Editing Emma here. Since filming this video, I have read Heartstopper. I read it like a week after I filmed this. I enjoyed it. I'll talk more about it in my December wrap-up.
Depending on how fast I read the book that I'm currently reading while I am pre-filming this, I might end up trying to squeeze Heartstopper into my TBR. I just want to make sure it's before I start filming like best of the years and stuff. Maybe I will have like made a tally list of books I read, books I haven't, all of that. I'm glad that I reacted to this video because one of them I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even realize that I wanted to read that book earlier this year. Like, it's no longer really on my radar. Like, will I read My Favorite Half Nightstand? Yes. Is it currently on my radar? No. And I just like, I think it's so interesting. And then I'm so surprised, but I'm also not surprised how many of the books that were on my radar for 2021, how many books that were on my radar for 2021 have ended up being books that are now on my 5-star prediction video. Unfortunately, I never made my new release video. Did I? Actually, let me look, 'cause I don't think I did, but maybe now that I know it's under something different, I did. No. So I never ended up, I think I filmed it, but never ended up publishing the new, like the 2021 releases that I was interested in. So you'll see the 2022 releases that I'm interested in one of my upcoming videos. But yeah, that is a look back on what books I was interested in 2020. I read a couple have ended up on my 5-star prediction, and a couple have just slid off my radar, and it's fine. But yeah, I'm actually really excited for the next 3 videos so you guys can see what's on my radar for 2022. I have to finish the research for it, which I will be doing probably over the course of the next week so I can film it next weekend so that when you guys are seeing it, it's tomorrow, the next day, but it's currently December 5th. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of the books that were on my radar last year. Should books like The Undead Girl Game or My Favorite Half Nightstand or the K.A. Tucker book I haven't read be higher up on my radar again, or let me know. And or should any of the books that I haven't mentioned, like should any of these books be higher on my radar, let me know in the comments down below. Either way, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you for Bookmas Day 3. Bye, Worlders. So I have not read Dear Haiti Love Again. I have not read